Hello and welcome to Self-Helped, the show where we've done the therapy so that you don't have to.
I'm Tully Smythe.
And I'm Maggie Kelly.
And while we're not licensed professionals, we sure have kept quite a few of them in business.
We're best friends in very different life stages, but from shrinks to bookstore bargain bins, we've both sampled the full self-help buffet.
And now we're dishing it out secondhand, reheated, and seasoned with some very questionable life choices. This is Self-Helped.
On today's show, I'm talking about the art of personal reinvention and why it might be at risk of extinction thanks to social media.
Then we'll talk about Craig McLachlan being dropped from the upcoming Cluedo musical theatre. Ba-boom. But for another friendly round of Change My Mind.
Stay put, because if you've ever cut your hair to change your life, this might just be the episode for you. Hello and welcome back to our slightly old, slightly rickety therapist couch.
Old, rickety, and it's getting a little bit on the dirty side too.
Is it me or the couch you're talking about?
Both. We'll put a spring in your step, but unfortunately also maybe a rogue couch spring in your butt too.
This is the segment where we play doctor and patient with one person trauma dumping and the other person also trauma dumping.
Double trauma dumping. We're a good time, aren't we? We're a fun time at a party.
Hilarious, really lighthearted. All right, Dr. Smythe, are you ready to heal me?
Dr. Smythe.
Gosh. A ring to it, doesn't it?
If only you could take your future husband's title as well as the surname.
Like Master Kelly.
Dr. Tully Rort.
Professor Marguerite. Let's not finish that.
The third. I was born ready. What are we talking about today, Max?
Okay, so this might be a little bit niche.
Everything you do is a bit niche.
So true, so true. But I think this is something that everyone can relate to. The art of personal reinvention. And I'm not just talking about a bold haircut, even though that is part of it, but I've been thinking about that whole life makeover when you burn it down to start again.
Mm-hmm.
And more specifically, how social media is making that impossible.
You are preaching to the choir, my friend. I've tried to reinvent myself a few times over the years. I like this. I feel like we've all faced the temptation of a dramatic life makeover.
Yes.
Like a 90s rom-com montage.
Bingo.
We come in and out of change rooms in different outfits. Like, ooh, what about this one? Shall we begin?
Let's do it.
Therapy is now in session. So, Max, dare I ask, what has got you thinking? What has got you thinking about this? Are you about to fake your own death and come back a redhead, or what's happening?
I'll come back with just a totally different name on the show. No, I was actually so I was home in Brisbane last weekend.
You were,
and I ran into an old school friend, and I hope she doesn't mind me retelling this story. But no,
I hope she's not listening. I was going to say, I hope she's not listening.
In school, this girl was a good friend of mine. She was a real wild child. And, used to get suspended, used to smoke ciggies behind the school shed, that kind of gal.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys weren't best friends.
We were pretty good friends. Thanks so much, Tully Ann. Anyway, I ran into her in Brisbane and she was like a different person. She's become a mum to a couple of kids. She's really into yoga. I almost walked past her in the street. I was like, wow, that is a complete reinvention.
Do you know what? As you were saying that, I thought about this guy that I was very good friends with in high school.
Right.
And he was 6'5", muscly guy. His dad was a gyno.
Oh.
So he liked to make jokes that he knew everything there was to know about the female body.
Oh.
Bit of a fuckboy, bit of a playboy.
Okay.
Broke many, many hearts.
Wow.
And now
He's gay.
No, now he lives in the Andes Mountains in some shanty town with the locals. Wow. He speaks fluent Spanish.
Oh my God.
Wears hand-woven ponchos.
Is he
and
a
plays,
vagina shaman?
and plays like a flute. A flute.
He does not play a flute. That is crazy. So do you have him on Facebook?
Yes,
or?
and he now types and updates everyone in Espanol, and I don't speak Espanol.
It's very exotic. Very exotic. Well, I think this is the thing, right? So I'm not connected with this girl on Facebook.
So it was like a shock.
Yeah, it was like an instant shock. Yeah, it's kind of like the olden days.
Good old days.
The good old days, right? So I feel like in 2025, we've really lost our ability to execute on a total life makeover.
I'm still concerned that you've got some plan to go on a fishing trip and then the boat disappears.
I was thinking that, like, imagine if in the news tomorrow it was like, look, a woman goes missing. You're like, hang on a second.
I'm like, what has happened to make you think about wanting to reinvent yourself?
Brown wig.
Okay, so let's set the scene.
Yes.
Describe to me what personal reinvention looked like in the old days, like back before social media.
Yeah.
How would one reinvent themselves?
I mean, I feel like we've all watched a movie where someone does this, right? Like
She's all that.
I can't recall. I'm so sorry. I have no cultural knowledge. These are the things that drives Tully insane.
I don't know why we're friends.
But from what I can gather of the pop culture, people would just disconnect their landline and like leave, right? Like broken heart, lady moves out of her flat to brand new city. It's probably San Francisco.
Paris.
Or Paris. She's walking down the street with a gorgeous new haircut. And that was it. She reinvented herself. Like, so I feel like there was a disappearing element, but in a really positive way. You would leave all of these really toxic things behind and start again fresh in a really positive way.
There's no way that's possible these days, is it?
No.
So what role do you think social media is playing in the downfall of this like dramatic life makeover? Because if I went AWOL for even a day,
you are dead.
People would send help. People would be really concerned for my well-being.
I'd be grieving you pretty much
If
instantly.
I deactivated my Facebook, people would literally think I'd been kidnapped. So what role is social media playing in the downfall of this like life makeover?
So I feel like it's at the core of everything, right? So social media has become this like weird personal archive of our past selves. And I think we're in a funny generation because we sort of cross over from Facebook to Instagram. So maybe we're not as documented. But for people these days, it's like from the age of 17 or whatever, every little life moment's been documented. And that act of reinvention is gone. Like our digital history is kind of haunting us. And I think in Australia, it's haunting you.
You're telling me.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Great example. And I also think that in Australia, tall poppy syndrome makes it even worse because it's like, should you have some kind of makeover and people see that, they're not going to be like, hey, great work. I noticed that you like completely reinvented yourself and live in the Andes and play a flute. People are like, are you okay?
Literally. I mean, it kind of reminds me when I went back to do Big Brother the second time round in 2021, it aired 2022. That was the first show that I had signed up to where social media had existed because it really wasn't a thing back in my first round. And they make you go through your Facebook, your Twitter, now X, and go through every single thing you've ever posted.
Oh, really?
And delete anything that might be, because the world and society and it's changed so much. What was considered appropriate or at least okay.
Oh no, you and I would have some bad things.
Well, I feel like because we studied journalism, I've always had a pretty good idea about what's ethically and morally. Like I've never wanted to spoil or ruin my future career opportunities.
Oh no, I was a dickhead for sure. In the olden days, you would, do dumb things, but then you've got the chance to kind of like grow up and reinvent yourself.
There are photos of me and my friends at like Split in the Grass.
Yes.
And some of them are wearing the Cherokee Indian headdresses, which were very much like a 2007 Tumblr thing.
Yes. And part of growing up is going, bad. Let's not do that.
That's not cultural appropriation. Not cute. Not cute or cool.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so do you think people are now afraid to appear inconsistent or worse, a bit mental?
A bit mental. Yeah, absolutely. Like I think that there are some instances where it is super right for you to burn everything down and start again. Like it reaches this point of critical mass where it's like the only way I see myself moving forward is to become almost like this new person. And I've done it a few times in my life, right? But I think that in this day and age, people worry that they're going to look like inauthentic or fake if they evolve too visibly, that people will be like, well, you were like this yesterday and now you're completely different. Like, who are you copying? So yeah, I think that this like pressure to appear consistent online, you would totally relate to this, can kind of stunt personal experimentation or growth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've had events before where a designer has sent a lookbook and I thought, oh, that dress is really cool. I'd love to wear that to this event, but it's not really me. And I'll feel silly if I try to do something that's not my norm in terms of fashion or style.
Yes.
But it's like I would love to actually wear that dress.
Yeah.
But I feel like my followers might see me in that particular style of dress and be like, oh, what? Like,
who's she trying to impress?
That's not her usual like thing.
It's a very Australian thing for sure.
Yeah, top poppy syndrome here is awful.
Bad.
So one of our first episodes of this podcast, we spoke about starting over, something we've both done multiple times actually. And we both spoke about the need for privacy during those really, really big, heavy, sometimes confusing life shifts, right? Do you think we're all denying ourselves the privacy to be experimental with our lives?
Oh, yeah. And like such a good reference, right? Like I think that growth requires trial and error. And I think back to my most recent starting over of like getting divorced, moving back to Melbourne and whatnot. And there was a lot about it. And I'm so glad that I didn't document a lot of this. Like, I kind of went offline. I went dark for half a year or something.
You go through periods of going
Yeah, because I
social
do
media.
need that privacy. And the older you get, the more you are aware that that's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's just protecting some space for like trial and error. So rather than being like, who am I growing into and who am I becoming? People are more worried about, well, what's this going to look like online? And I think this like hyper awareness of an audience is writing ourselves into these very rigid social contracts where there's no room to be different or grow, right? Like, even when I cut my hair off, I had
Which time? How short? What color? What era was this?
Totally. Clearly, I like reinventing myself. But after the wedding, and like hair is one of these big things, but I chopped it off into this very dramatic short bob and people were like, are you okay?
It's so funny because for me, you having long hair was weirder for me.
Yeah.
Because you've had short hair most of your life. And when you reappeared after gallivanting around the world, pregnant, heavily pregnant, with the long blonde hair, I was like, oh, whoa, what?
Yeah. And that in itself was almost like a reinvention, right? Like I was living in the tropics.
Crunchy mum, you really lent into that.
I really did. And I think, we're going to feel that crunch at so many points in our life where you meet someone from your past and they go, this doesn't make sense to me. You seem like someone new. But I think that's becoming less and less possible.
Okay, so this is really making me think about comparison culture, right? They say that comparison is the thief of joy. We hear it all the time.
Yes.
I definitely feel that in my line of work.
Yeah.
No matter who I'm following, I'm like, oh, their house is so much nicer. I don't own my own house. That ring is beautiful. I'm never going to be able to afford a ring like that.
Yeah.
How have you felt in the past when you've had a massive life makeover?
So I think you've got to it's kind of like what we were just talking about in that you've got to give yourself the privacy and the space from noise of other people so you don't do that. Because whatever you're doing in this reinvention, it isn't a 90s movie montage, right? Like you're not walking down the street in San Fran with your new haircut being like, life's great. It's a pretty gnarly time. You're reinventing yourself. You're rebirthing yourself into the world. And I think you need to
quite a visual.
Tully's just gone, no thanks. But yeah, I think, you do need to have that kind of privacy and not compare yourself to anyone else because chances are they're not sharing their reinvention online. It's happened for them somewhere private as well.
How do you feel like cancel culture plays a part in this too? Because I know that I'm terrified. I will triple check, quadruple check everything.
Yes.
Even send it to a third party to be like, hey, is there anything about this that's offensive in any culture, country, sex? Is there anything here that I could get cancelled for? I'm so paranoid and scared of being cancelled these days.
Right. And then you end up with this, not you personally, but then we're all gravitating towards this very washed out, homogenous existence where people are even, I've been to a couple of events where people talk about not wanting to have the decor of their home be to something that people can talk about, like going with really kind of bland home decor. I'm like, wow, we're really just making some crazy decisions here.
I mean, I definitely look at my couch and my rug and think, oh God, this isn't good enough to go. I mean, the reason I don't take more fashion-y content is because I don't have a spare room studio set up like a lot of influencers. And I'm like, my biggest mirror is in the middle of my kitchen with my cat automated feeder behind me. And I don't think it's good enough to compete with the other fashion-y influencers.
But then I think we are moving towards a different era. I think we're moving towards a place where it's and TikTok probably did this, where the mess is welcome. The mess is way more welcome. And I think that, maybe part of this reinvention thing comes down to being more authentic.
I love that. Okay, so what does this mean? Are we doomed to be locked into one version of ourselves forevermore, or is there space for a little sprinkling of reinvention every now and again.
I want to be optimistic here, right? I think that we are in a very weird chapter of history where we are locked into, like, we're kind of been held hostage to this digital identity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are less...
Digital footprint,
that's it, girlfriend. But people are less inspired by the prospect of starting over because they're worried about what people are going to think. And I think the biggest part of personal reinvention is not giving a shit what people think. But, and I just sort of touched on this, but TikTok for me was the thing that actually inspired one of my more recent starting over, because I was able to see videos of real people being like,
walked the walk and
that have like left new marriages. And I found myself totally like entrenched in this world of people that have kind of reinvented themselves. So I think there's like a silver lining here.
Okay, Max, you ready for your therapy notes?
Please.
So what I'm hearing is, back in the day, reinvention meant moving cities, cutting your hair, and no one really knew the old you. Whereas now on social media, it follows us around like a clingy ex, right? And it's hard to start fresh when your 2009 split in the grass pics are still floating around.
That's a choice.
Unfortunately for me, they are. What I'm also hearing is social media has become an archive of every past self, right? If you scrolled back on my Instagram, you would go through all the eras of me. When I was queer, when I had a nose ring, when I, had purple dip dyed ends.
That was cute.
Back when I was working in advertising, I was doing a 9-to-5 job, which seems like forever ago. Shedding skin might not be so simple anymore, but changing your mind isn't fake, it's growth, as we just touched on. The messiness is proof that you're evolving. So maybe when it comes down to is privacy, as we said. Reinvention needs space to fail and to play at 18 when you could move to Melbourne without an audience. And then at 34 with followers watching your every move, that freedom felt smaller, right?
Yes,
You didn't feel like you had as much freedom. And you did. When your marriage broke down, you took it offline.
Yeah.
In fact, by the time you came back online and told everybody what had happened, anybody who didn't, already know because they were close, it was months down the track. And,
totally.
And people were confused.
Yeah. Fine, be confused. Not your life to know anything about.
I guess the question is, are we choosing for ourselves or for them? For the social media followers, for the public, like who's more important here, really? It's us, obviously. And finally, maybe reinvention isn't about erasing the past, but integrating it. We talked a bit about this with the nostalgia episode, right?
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
You said that strangers on TikTok gave you the courage to leave a marriage, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful. And I guess that's the other side of digital permanence. Yes, it can trap us, but it can also inspire us. So for anyone listening, I want you to give yourself permission to evolve and extend that grace to others too. So next time you see that girl from school who used to smoke darts behind the school shed.
It was me. I am her.
Tell Maggie that she's late for the podcast. No. Next time you see someone from school and they've completely, flipped the script. They've done a 180. They're now a yogi mom, or they're now, a high-powered CEO.
Yes.
Give them a high five and say, good for you, sis.
Yeah.
Don't hold them against this kind of old, outdated standard.
Yes.
We're all allowed to grow. We're all allowed to evolve. And I think we should all be more supportive of that for ourselves, but also for each other.
Right. Like, be weirder. Go big. I actually saw something the other day online. It was like, if you don't look back and feel cringy at your past content, you're not growing, you're not evolving. And I kind of love that because I look back at my content and want to delete the entire internet.
There was years there where I was using the same Photoshop preset that made all of us look like we had been rubbing ourselves in like a thick, we just looked like watercolor paintings.
I remember this quite
very
clearly.
tanned and very like matte. Anyway.
No lines. Anyway, as always, we have been your bossy big sister and giving you some homework.
This week, we want you to choose one area of reinvention you're curious about, like your fashion or your exercise routine.
But make sure you choose something new and scary and something you've always wanted to do but have been really scared to fail at. If you feel like a noob, you've probably chosen the right thing.
Mine's cooking. What's yours? Try it offline for 1 week without posting. I know. Crazy concept.
Crazy.
Just notice how it feels to you before others.
And this might sound a bit woo-woo, but try and journal each day, answering the question, what did I learn about myself from this experiment?
Remind yourself that growth isn't about getting it perfect. It's about giving yourself permission to change and proving you don't need an audience to validate it.
Get the haircut.
Okay, Maggie, for Scoop of the Week this week, we have to talk about Craig McLachlan.
Oh,
Now, I know it happened a
dearie
few weeks
me.
ago, but in case you missed it, he has pulled out of the Australian stage production of Cluedo after the casting announcement caused a wave of backlash.
and you know what? I'm going to say it. Good.
Yep.
The fact that he was even cast in this is baffling.
Mind-blowing.
Like, this isn't just about a role in a murder mystery show. This is a real message that the industry was sending.
Exactly. And for context, in case you're not a musical theatre nerd like me, or maybe you just, been living under a rock, back in 2018, Craig McLachlan was accused of sexual harassment and assault during the Rocky Horror Show. Multiple women came forward and shared their stories. He denied it, and yes, he was acquitted. However, the testimonies were powerful and the theatre community took notice.
Yep. And on this show, we have a very clear message. We believe women.
We absolutely do.
When women come forward and risk their jobs, we absolutely believe them. So I think, to see him then land this shiny new role felt like a slap in the face. Slap in the face to these women and to pretty much any performer that's ever had to work in unsafe conditions.
Exactly. Theatre is meant to be safe, collaborative space. Casting him doesn't just risk alienating audiences, it risks re-traumatizing the very community that he worked in.
Which raises a pretty huge question. What about the other cast members?
That's like the first thing I thought about when they announced it.
Like, what? If you knew that he was signed on and you agreed to be part of the show, does that kind of like show solidarity with him? Like, should they not have been like, hey, look, if he's in, I'm out?
I mean, that's my personal opinion.
But then it's their job, right?
I know, but like, yeah, it's tricky because there aren't a whole lot of jobs in that industry in this
small,
country. We're a small country and there's only a sort of select handful number of shows that happen every year.
For sure.
But this isn't just a bad PR move, it's a values move. And for the producers to ignore how triggering and damaging that casting would be is truly mind-blowing.
And I'm wondering, like, now that he's pulled out, what does this mean for the future of that show? Like, can it recover? Is the show tainted? All of these people that this might be their first big breakout role and they're so excited. What does that mean for them?
I did feel for them. I felt for the other castmates that have been announced alongside him in the same Instagram post because that post was inundated.
Like, why should you have to give up your dream role in your dream production because some schmuck has been dragged in?
I just don't know if it can bounce back. As someone who lives and breathes and loves musical theatre, I would have really been really excited to see Cluedo on stage. I haven't seen it before. It's a show that I haven't seen. And I would have been really excited to see it. But this whole thing has left a really yucky taste in my mouth. And I'm not sure how the show or the cast could bounce back. I don't know if they need to take a break and like shelve it for a year and wait for it to die down a bit, scrap the cast altogether and start again. I don't know. I feel bad for like the behind the stage guys.
Or maybe people will go now that he's been cut. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the silver lining here, though, is that the outrage worked, right?
Yeah.
The industry, the fans, the performers, everyone used their voices and forced to change, and that matters.
Yep, absolutely. And to the women who spoke up, we have a message for you. You are the reason change is happening. We see you, we support you, and we'll always call this stuff out on this show.
Absolutely.
And if you see Craig McLachlan, egg him.
Kick him in the dick. No, wait. Step on his toe.
Hard words from Tully Smite.
Okay, we heard you guys loud and clear. You guys loved our Change My Mind debate. So we thought, why not come back for round 2?
Excuse me. People loved your debate on Taylor Swift, Shag, and specifically Rod Stewart, not so popular, whatever. I would also like to point out before we get started that my daughter and I actually love a Cruel Summer sing-along. So get off my back.
I'm just thrilled that no matter what the topic, every single episode, and it's usually from your mouth,
No.
Taylor Swift's name somehow sneaks her way into our podcast.
Facts. Maybe I'm a secret Swiftie. Who knows?
Anyway, guys, the same rules apply this time round. We've both picked topics that the other one is not a fan of, and now it's our job to prove them wrong and to change their mind. Okay, Maggie, I'm going to start this time.
All right, hit me.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Today, Marguerite, I bring you a subject close to my heart, one that has shaped both my career and my life.
Taylor Swift.
Reality TV.
Oh, okay. So do you need to give the context that I don't watch any television?
Yeah, Maggie doesn't watch
particularly
any
reality
television.
TV.
She didn't even know what She's All That is, which is like an iconic 90s movie. So no television, no movies. You're just kind of like
Caveman.
in the dark ages.
Yep.
Okay, I have some more points. They're shorter points, don't worry. Hear me out, Maggie. Reality TV is one of the most important cultural artifacts of our time. Don't roll your eyes, I'm speaking. First, It's human behavior in its rawest form. You can keep your Shakespeare, give me a bunch of strangers in a house with cameras 24/7 any day. It's drama, it's comedy, it's tragedy, and sometimes, if you're a real fucking idiot, it's romance, all rolled into one. Number 2, it's relatable escapism. Most of us aren't climbing Mount Everest or living in Malibu, sadly, but we can relate to awkward dates, play fights, and desperate scrambles for approval. Reality TV magnifies the everyday stuff we all feel. Number 3, it's a mirror and a microscope.
Oh, that's good.
Reality shows often expose social dynamics, power, friendship, conflict, love in a way that scripted shows cannot. They spark conversations we never would have had otherwise. And finally, it is pure joy and some mind-numbing fluff. After a long day, sometimes what you need isn't a true crime doco or an art house film with subtitles. Sometimes it's watching someone have a tantrum after being voted off Love Island UK. So yeah, roll your highly intellectual cultural eyes at me all you want, but reality TV is entertaining, insightful, and maybe, just maybe, the best unintentional therapy session out there.
Yeah. That was so good.
Thank you.
You didn't change my mind, but
Well,
you know what? Your high school debating skills really shone. Congratulations, Tully Smythe.
you know what? You don't know what you're missing out of, okay? You
I
just
do.
don't know what you're missing out on.
Well, speaking of things you're missing out of,
Oh,
today's topic for Change My Mind is one of your favorites.
I love that we both bear down. I'm like, what is this thing that I just know I'm going to fucking hate?
Today, I would like to bring to the table coffee.
Oh,
Anyone who has listened to the show from the start will know that coffee is one of my greatest passions and Tully's most hated beverage. Do I remember that fact off my own volition? No, not once. 17 years of friendship, and I'm still asking her how she takes her coffee. Anyway, so today I'm here to change your mind. Coffee, life fuel, or jitter juice? I will be proudly representing the pro-coffee side, so please sit down.
I'm sad.
Ladies, gentlemen, and tea drinkers who I secretly pity, coffee is more than just a beverage. It is civilization's on switch. Without coffee, the Renaissance does not happen. The internet, never invented. Mondays, still illegal. People say coffee makes you anxious. Wrong. Coffee doesn't make me anxious. My inbox makes me anxious. Coffee simply gives me the superpower to face the horror of replying. Also, for an anxious person, I am getting through life more often than not with alarm bells going through my head, so why not dial it up and throw some fuel on the fire? If nothing else, time goes quite fast. Coffee is also the only acceptable addiction. You can drink 5 cups of coffee in a meeting and people will just be like, yeah, wow, look at her go. That's amazing. That's so much coffee. Can you do that with tequila at work? No. Can you suck on a grape vape at 9 a.m. on a Monday?
Sadly, no.
Tully might, but not me. Let's be honest, coffee isn't a drink, it is a personality. Without it, half of the world's Instagram captions would disappear overnight. Like, do we really want to live in a world without "don't talk to me until I've had my coffee"? Like, what would suburban mums even talk about? Take their wine jokes away, take their coffee jokes away, and their live, laugh, love world of coffee gags would freeze up. Reason enough. In conclusion, coffee is liquid optimism. It is the warm hug before your brain boots up, the reason that small talk exists, and frankly, the only reason that this debate started on time. Thank you for listening.
It tastes like dirty water. It's so bitter. I want to love coffee. Just so you know, I've tried. Like, you know when you
I feel
first
the same about reality TV.
You know when you first start drinking wine and at first you're like, oh, like you go for a
Yucky.
Moscato and then you upgrade to like a Pinot Grigio
So
and then
true.
you upgrade. I've tried. I thought, look, just start with a mocha, ease your way into it.
Yeah, wow.
It makes me sweaty. It gives me sweaty pits, sweaty palms, makes my heart race.
Yeah, it gives you
And
the
now I'm
M&M
taking speed
effect.
for breakfast. The last thing I need is a coffee addiction on top, all right? But well done. Well done. That was really good. Go us. You guys, can you let us know? I mean, you did last time and I won. But can you let us know on social media, who do you think won that debate?
There wasn't enough old men listening to our show to back me up on the word shag or Rod Stewart. All right, babes, we'd love to keep chatting, but sadly our time is up for today. Will that be a latte or a flat white, Tull?
I'll have a mocha, half shot, 4 sugars, thanks. Lucky for you, self-help is all about free advice from 2 women who've spent a lot of money on theirs.
Every week, we'll be inviting you to pull up a chair and let us spill the tea on what we've learned, not just from therapy, but from the roller coaster of life.
The wins, the mess, and the surprisingly sound advice we've gotten from co-workers in the kitchen. We're here for each other and hopefully for you too.
If you like what you've heard or you personally have a great vape at 9 a.m. on a Monday, hit subscribe and leave us a glowing review. Follow us on Instagram at selfhelpedpod. Validation is our love language.
Just for clarity, I don't vape, okay? We'll be back in your ears every Thursday, wherever you listen to your podcast.
Thank you for tuning into Self-Helped.
We'll see you next appointment. Don't be late. We'd like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people, the traditional owners of the land on which we've recorded today's episode, and pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging.
Always was, always will be.